Perks are coming for Season 15 along with loot boxes, a rank reset, the return of ranked icons, Clash is going to be removed from ranked, Galactic Guns is a competitive reward, and more. There is a lot, and I know the recent Overwatch Spotlight last week showed a ton of stuff, and you're probably confused when things are scheduled to be released, so here's the calendar. Pause it here. You have Stadium Mode, Freya, and the new DPS hero and the hero bands. Those are for Season 16 in late April. The new Flashpoint map is coming for early July for Season 17. New support hero, codenamed right now Aqua, is coming sometime in late September or October for Season 18. Okay, now that that's out of the way, this season is all about perks. That's right. So there's no individual balance changes. There's going to be 2 minor and 2 major perks for each hero. There's 4 total per hero times 42 total heroes. So we have 168 perks to fully compare and explain. So first, how do perks work? Okay, perk progress. How do you gain it? You need to either deal damage, secure eliminations, or heal your allies. The longer your matches, the perk XP will gradually increase. If you eliminate an enemy at a higher perk level than you, that elimination is worth more perk experience. You can check your progress on that bar on the bottom left of your name. Swapping heroes. So when you swap heroes, your new hero you pick will be set to level 1, so there's no perk progress. But your perk level progress will be saved on any heroes that you have played throughout that round beforehand. So don't be afraid to switch off your level 3 Ashe to like a level 1 Tracer to quickly stall the point as necessary. Okay, so here's some competitive play perk specific rules. Perk progress will reset when you switch sides for Escort and Hybrid. So when you switch attacking and defending sides, everyone's back at level 1. However, if both attackers and defenders play and you have to go another overtime round or extra round, all heroes will be at level 3 with all their perks unlocked. So you can completely switch your composition around at this point. Okay, hopefully that's pretty clear. Let's begin. For D.Va's minor perks, you have a choice between Bunny Stomp, where Call Mech's damage radius is increased by 50%. A little cheesy, but if you can get the kill, it's kind of nice. For the Ejection Suit, the Eject grants 75 temporary overhealth, which doesn't decay and gives you a better chance to re-mech. For the major perks, you have Shield System, which converts 150 of her HP into shields. Defense Matrix also restores those shields based on 25% of its damage absorbed, a really good defensive option. But if you want more power instead, you can opt for Heavy Rockets, where micro missiles are now swapped for Heavy Rockets, which fire fewer projectiles but with increased damage and explosion. Doomfist's first minor perk is 1-2. Hitting an enemy with Rocket Punch will reload all of his hand cannon ammo. Or you can take Survival of the Fittest, where the best defense now grants 25 overhealth from actually eliminating a player, and its max overhealth is increased from 200 to 250. For his major perk, you have Seismic Empowerment, where hitting 3 or more enemies with Seismic Slam will empower your Rocket Punch as well. Or you can opt for Power Matrix, where Power Block absorbs projectiles for the first second of its duration, kind of like an actual parry now. For Hazard, you can take Off the Top, where Violent Leap Slash, which does 80 damage normally, now deals 30% more damage to enemies above 250 health. Or you can take Reconstitution, where Jagged Wall hits charge the Spike Guard with 25 energy, with up to 50 extra, so you can use that ability a little bit longer. For the major perks, you have Anarchic Zeal, where Spike Guard spikes gain 25% lifesteal, or you can take Deep Leap, where Violent Leap's range of 15 meters is now increased by 20%, making it about 18 meters. For Draco Queen, we have Rending Recall, where if you recall your Jagged Blade from a stuck target, it'll refresh its wound duration. You also have Battle Shout, where Commanding Shout fully reloads your Scattergun, and it'll increase allied reload speed by 50%. For the major perks, you have Deep Wounds, where Scattergun hits extend the wound duration on those enemies by 0.25 seconds, or you can take Savage Satiation, where the Carnage impact damage, that's a big axe swing, gives you 100% lifesteal. For Mauga's minor perks, you have Kinetic Bandolier, where Overrun reloads up to 150 ammo while charging. You'll reload a little bit less depending on how quick you activate the ability. You can also take 2 hearts. While on an objective, Mauga counts as 2 heroes and can regenerate 20 HP per second. The major perks, you have Firewalker, where Overrun now ignites enemies hit. Or you can take Combat Fuel, where critical hits grant Mauga 2 temporary overhealth on Cardiac Overdrive's next use, up to 100 overhealth total. For Orisa, you have Heat Dissipator, where the primary fire critical hits specifically will refund heat so you can keep spamming, or you can take Fleeting Bulwark, where Fortify briefly grants an additional 100 overhealth when activated. For the major perks, you can take Charge Javelin, where you can now hold the button and charge your Energy Javelin, where it increases the speed and its knockback. You can also pierce enemies if you're at full charge. The other major perk is a throwback to Overwatch 1, Protective Barrier. You convert the Javelin spin button back to a barrier. For Ramattra, you have Void Surge as your first minor perk, where the Void Accelerator periodically releases a burst of 6 additional projectiles during continuous fire. You could also take Prolonged Barrier instead, where Void Barrier's duration is increased by 25%. The major perks, you have Nanite Repair, where Ramattra is now healed for 50 health per second while within his Ravenous Vortex, or you can take Vengeful Vortex, so when Ravenous Vortex is airborne, you can press the ability again to detonate it, which deals 50 damage and pulls enemies downwards. For Rein's minor perks, you have Crusader's Resolve, where if you hold up his shield, the passive global health regen triggers 50% sooner. Or just take Fiery Uptake, where the barrier field is healed for 100% of Fire Strike's damage. So if you hit multiple people, it heals a lot more. For the major perks, you have Shield Slam. When barrier field is active, press your Hammer Swing to deal 50 damage and slightly knock back enemies. It's great for animation canceling and confirming your kills. Or if you're an aggro Rein, you can opt for Crushing Defeat, where charge damage grants temporary overhealth for 50% of the damage dealt. Roadhog's first minor perk is Scrap Hook, where Chain Hook now reloads 2 ammo. Perfect if you hook somebody at 0 ammo. Hog Toss is the next one, where Pigpen's throw range is increased by 50%. For his major perks, we have Invigorate, where Take a Breather rapidly increases Roadhog's movement speed by 30%. Or you can go for Hogdrogen Exposure, where Take a Breather also heals nearby allies for 50% of its healing, aka the Fart Cloud. For Sigma, we have Kinetic Cycle. Absorbing projectiles with Kinetic Grasp also reduces Accretion's cooldown, or you can take Massive Impact, where Accretion's knockdown duration is increased up to 3 seconds based on the travel distance. This is how it used to be in Overwatch 1. For his level 3 major perks, we have Hyper Strike, where every 5 direct hits with your Hyper Spheres, your next successful quick melee will levitate and knock enemies away. The other major perk is Levitation, where if you activate and hold double jump, you can briefly levitate upwards. Winston's first perk is Short Circuit, where Tesla Cannon now deals 30% more damage to deployable objects. You could also take Heavy Landing, where during Primal Rage, jump packs damage in area is increased by up to 75% while airborne. For Winston's major perks, we have Chain Lightning, where fully charged secondary fires bounce up to 2 additional targets, or you can take Revitalizing Barrier, where the bubble now heals allies within it for 30 health per second, including yourself. For Wrecking Ball, we have Steamroller. Roll impacts now deal 100% more damage to tanks, aka double the damage, so 60 turns to 120. Or you can take Pack Rat, where the health packs also heal an additional 100 health. For his level 3 major perks, you have Hang Time, where the pile drive winds up longer, you gain a little bit more air control, and you deal up to 50% more damage. You could also take Transfer Efficiency if you're a team player, where reactivating Adaptive Shield reduces its cooldown by 1.5 seconds per ally affected, and the ally health gained from it is increased by 33%. For Zarya's first minor perk, you have Jump Ups, where the secondary fire self-knockback is increased by 75%. You could also take Graviton Crush, where Graviton Surge deals up to 30% of enemy max health as damage over time. Great against tanks. For her major perks, you have Energy Lance, where the particle cannon's beam now pierces enemies while you're over 50 energy. Or you can take Spotter, where the projected barrier activates ally health regeneration immediately, and it'll increase their movement speed by 15%. For Ashe, her level 2 perks are Rapid Fire, where the unscoped shots gain 30% increased attack speed but deal 15% less damage. Or you can take Sidewinder, where Coach Gun pushes Ashe and enemies 20% farther. For her level 3 major perks, you have Viper Sting, where hitting 2 consecutive scope shots on a target deals 25 extra damage and automatically reloads 2 ammo. You could also take Airburst, where Dynamite now has a 40% increased detonation radius while airborne, and then it also refunds 3 ammo when thrown. For Bastion, you can take Smart Bomb. The A36 Tactical Grenade's self-knockback is increased by 25% and no longer damages you, so it's perfect for getting around the map. Or you could take Armored Artillery, where Configuration Artillery, that's his ultimate, now grants 300 temporary overhealth. For his level 3 major perks, you have Lindholm Explosives, where Configuration Assault, that's the turret form, the weapon now changes to fire slow explosive shells instead of the cannon. Or you could just take Self-Repair, throwback to Overwatch 1, press the button, and you'll rapidly heal yourself, and there's no resource limit. You can just press it indefinitely if you want. For Cassidy, his minor perk is Quick Draw. Fan the Hammer shots are now individually controlled and can crit for 50% more damage. Or you can take Past Noon, where Deadeye refunds 30% of the ult charge if it fully expires, not if you cancel it. For his level 3 major perks, you have Gun Slingin', where the critical hits with primary fire reduce the cooldown of combat roll by 3 seconds. Or you can take Bang Bang, where Cassidy throws a second flashbang that does travel farther, but both flashbangs have 30% reduced damage. For Echo's minor perks, we have Friendly Imaging. Duplicate can now also target allies. Or you can take Enhanced Duplication, where during your ultimate, your clone's first ult will extend the duplicate duration by 3 seconds. For her major perks, you have Full Salvo, where the sticky bombs now fire 50% more projectiles, but all sticky bombs deal 15% less damage. This is still a full DPS increase if you obviously hit all of them. You could also take High Beams, where focusing beam eliminations now reset your flight's cooldown. Really good for getting in and out. For Genji's minor perks, you have Acrobatics, where Swift Strike resets your double jump, or you have Dragon's Thirst, where Dragon Blade swings gain 30% lifesteal. For his major perks, we have Blade Twisting, where Swift Strike deals 25 additional damage over time when used shortly after an elimination. Or you can take Meditation, where you can regen 25 health per second while Deflect is active. For Hanzo's minor perks, we have Sonic Disruption, where Sonic arrows now hack nearby health packs for 12 seconds. Or you can take Scatter Arrows, where the Storm arrows split into 3 new projectiles on their first ricochet and bounce 2 extra times. For his major perks, you have Dragon's Fury, where after hitting an enemy with the primary fire, you get 25% attack speed for 1 second. Really good to use with the Storm arrows. Or you can opt for Yamagami Technique, where the wall climb accelerates your lunge cooldown by 250%. For Junkrat's minor perks, you can take Aluminum Frame, where the steel trap's throw range is increased by 50%, or you can take Nitro Boost, where during Riptire, use ability 1, or whatever your mines are bound to gain a quick boost of speed, and doing so does reduce Riptire's damage by 50%, which brings it down to about 300 damage, which is enough to kill most heroes still. For Junkrat's major perks, we have Frag Cannon, where the frag launcher's projectile speed is increased by 40%, but the max ammo is reduced from 5 to 4. The other major perk is called TikTok. Concussive Mine arms 0.5 seconds after landing, increases damage by 50%, explosion raise by 50%, and the health by 200%. For Mei's level 2 minor perks, we have Chilling Reach, where the primary fire's range is increased by 30%. You also have Permafrost, where Ice Wall's duration and cooldown are both increased by 2 seconds. For the major perks, we have Biting Cold, where the secondary fire Icicles, the hits now slow enemies by 15% for 1.5 seconds, which stacks up to 30%. You also have Cryo Storm, where the Cryo Freeze, or the Ice Block, now slows and deals 70 damage per second to nearby enemies. For Pharah's minor perks, we have Drift Thrusters, where Pharah can now move while Barrage is active. Or you can take Helix Shields, where you convert 75 of her health to shield, so you can regen in the air without a pocket if you hide. For her level 3 perks, we have Concussive Implosion, where the Concussive Blast's knockback is now inverted to become a pull-in instead. The other major perk is Fuel Stores, where the Jet Dash now grants 50% fuel, and your maximum overfuel is increased by 100%. For Reaper, we have Death's Shadows as the first minor perk, where Shadow Step now reloads the Hellfire shotguns and has 25% increased range. You also have Soul Reaving as the other minor perk, a throwback to Overwatch 1, where you collect soul globes from dead enemies to restore 50 health each. For the major perks, we have Dire Triggers, where if you use your secondary fire, you can fire a volley with long-range accuracy from both your shotguns. Or you can take Ravenous Wraith, where if you leave Wraith form, you get 40% additional lifesteal for 3 seconds. Really good if you combo it with Death Blossom. For Sojourn's first minor perk, we have Extended Mag, where the maximum ammo is increased by 15. Or you can take Overcharge, where the Railgun's max energy is increased by 50 while Overclock is active. For the major perks, we have Dual Thrusters, where the Power Slide gains an additional charge, so you have 2 of them now, but its jump height shifts to lateral movement. It basically means you don't go as high anymore. The other major perk is Adhesive Siphon, where the Disruptor Shot can stick to enemies and generate Railgun energy for you while it deals damage. For Soldier 76, the level 2 perks are Recycled Pulse Munitions, where the Helix Rocket reloads 15 ammo if they damage an enemy. Or you can take Field Emergency, where the Biotic Field's healing is increased by 100% on critical health allies. Critical health meaning less than 25% health. For his major perks, we have Agility Training, where the sprint speed is increased by 20% and you can reload while you sprint. The other one is Stim Pack, where the Biotic Field can be used as a Stim Pack, where you get increased attack speed and reload speed by 30%, but you're unhealable or antied for 4 seconds. For the minor perks for Sombra, we have Viral Efficacy, where the virus cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds when an enemy affected by the virus is eliminated. You also have Control-Alt-Escape, where teleporting with Translocator while at critical health will instantly initiate your passive health regeneration. For her major perks, we have White Hat, where the hack can now be used on allies to restore 100 health over 2 seconds, and you get ultimate charge. You're kind of like a support. The other one is Stack Overflow, where the hack's silence duration is increased by 100%, but its range is decreased by 30% if you want to make the other tank's life miserable. For Symmetra, the first perk is Sentry Capacity, where Sentry Turret just gets an additional charge. You get 4 of them now. The other minor perk is Advanced Teleportation, where the teleporter's range is increased by 50%. For her major perks, we have Perfect Alignment, where the primary fire's range is increased by 15% with each additional charge level. The other one is Shield Battery, where Symmetra regenerates 20 shields per second while within 10 meters of her teleporter. For Torb's minor perks, we have Craftsman, where the Forge Hammer can restore armor health to allies specifically. The Turret Bonk healing is also increased by 25%. The other minor perk is Fully Loaded, where activating Overload fully refills your Rivet Gun's ammo. For his level 3 perks, we have Anchor Bolts, where Deploy Turret's throw range is increased by 50%, and it can now attach to walls and ceilings. A little cheeky. You could also opt for Overloaded Turret, where the Overload upgrades your turret for 5 seconds, increasing its health and dealing extra damage. Alright, for Tracer's minor perks, we have Blink Packs, where health packs will automatically restore 1 blink charge. Or you can take Blast from the Past if you're J3, where your Pulse Bomb radius is going to be increased by 50%. For the level 3 major perks, we have Flashback, where Recall restores all your blink charges. It's kind of crazy. You can do 6 blinks, kinda. Quantum Entanglement is the other major perk, where Recall grants 50 overhealth that decays over time. Venture's minor perks are Seismic Sense. While underground, Venture can sense enemies within 25 meters, so you can ping it for your teammates. You also have Excavating Exhilaration. While Tectonic Shock is active, the cooldowns will refresh 300% faster. For the level 3 major perks, we have Smarter Excavator, where your primary fire's range is increased by 25%, or you can take Covered in Dirt, where dealing damage with Clobber grants up to 30 Explorer's Resolve shields. Widowmaker's first minor perk is Scoped Efficiency, where scope shots now cost 3 ammo instead of 5. Or you can take Focused Aim, where scope shots charge 50% faster during Infrasight. For the major perks, we have Escape Plan, where scope shot hits reduce grappling hook's cooldown by up to 4 seconds. It scales based on how much you've charged up, and it doesn't have to be a headshot. Deadly Duh is the other major perk, where you get 2 charges of Venom Mine, and they both gain 50% increased damage. You can activate both at the same time. For the supports, your minor perk is Groggy, where enemies waking up from Sleep Dart are slowed for 2 seconds. Biotic Bounce is the other minor perk. I'd probably take this one. After exploding, your Biotic Grenade will bounce and explode again for 50 damage and healing. For the major perks, we have Headhunter, where Biotic Rifle can now crit enemies. Not teammates, just enemies. The other major perk is Shrike, where using Nano Boost will also self-cast it onto Ana. Finally. For Baptiste, the first minor perk is Field Medicine, where Immortality Field now restores 80 health to nearby allies and 40 health to Baptiste when it gets destroyed. Automated Healing is the other minor perk, where after placing your ultimate, your shoulder turret will actually start firing up to 12 shots at allies, each restoring 25 health. For the major perks, we have Assault Burst. Regenerative Burst grants Baptiste 20% attack speed for 4 seconds, but it'll no longer instantly heal. Really good if you're an aggressive DPS BAP. Or you can take Rocket Boots. While airborne from Exo Boots, press your jump again to dash horizontally. For Briggs' minor perk, we have Barrier Restoration, where if you shield bash, you'll restore 100 health to your shield when it hits an enemy. The other minor perk is Morale Boost, where Inspire now lasts 3 seconds longer when activated specifically by the Whip Shot. For the level 3 major perks, we have Quick Fix, where repair packs instantly heal an additional 35 health to critical health allies. Or you can take Whiplash, where Whip Shot's knockback can slam enemies into the wall and deal 50 extra damage. For Illari's minor perks, we have Rapid Construction, where Healing Pylon builds 300% faster and its cooldown is reduced by 1.5 seconds. Or you can take Summer Solstice, where Illari's flight time during Captive Sun, that's her ultimate, is increased by 3 seconds and her flight speed is increased by 20%. For the major perks, we have Solar Power. Fully charged solar rifle hits grant 12.5% of your maximum solar energy, and it can overfill up to 50%. Or you can opt for Sunburn, where Outburst, that little movement ability, now ignites enemies, dealing an additional 70 damage over 3 seconds. For Juno's minor perks, we have Familiar Vitals, where the Pulsar torpedoes now lock onto allies 35% faster. Or you can opt for Hyper Boost, where if you use Glide Boost, passing through your Hyper Ring will now push you forward. For her level 3 perks, we have Master Blaster, where the Medi Blaster can now crit enemies. You also can use Reboots, where activating Glide Boost can reset your double jump. For Kiriko, we have Urgent Care, where the healing Ofuda projectile speed is increased by 50% when seeking critical health allies. Or you can take Fortune Teller, where kunai hits will launch 2 healing Ofuda to an ally in front of you. For her level 3 major perks, we have Shuffling, where Swift Step can be used again within 4 seconds of its initial cast. Foxtrot is the other major perk where Protection Suzu now grants 40% movement speed to allies for 2 seconds. For Lifeweaver's minor perks, we have Cleansing Grasp, where Life Grip can now cleanse negative effects being like antis and burns, etc, etc. Life Cycle is the other minor perk. While alive, regenerate 10 health per second, always. And then when you die, you drop a healing seed that can heal allies for 250 health. The old passive's back. The major perks, we have Life Weaving, where Rejuvenating Dash adds 20 healing to your next healing blossom within 3 seconds. Or you can take a DPS one, Super Bloom, where Thorns detonate for 30 extra damage when enough stick on them within 1.5 seconds. For Lucio's minor perks, we have Base Blowout, where Soundwave's knockback, or the boop, is increased by 15%. Really good to take if you're playing Ilios. Or you can take Groovin, where you regenerate 4 ammo per second while wall riding. For the major perks, we have Noise Violation, where Crossfade's range is increased by 150% while Amp It Up is active. Or you can take Accelerando, where Lucio's attack speed is increased by 50% while Amp It Up is active. For Mercy, her first minor perk is Angelic Recovery, where Mercy receives 15 health per second while her staff is attached to a full health ally. Winged Reach is the other minor perk, where Guardian Angel's range is increased by 30%. For her level 3 major perks, we have Chain Boost, where your secondary fire or your damage boost beam now links to a second nearby ally. Or you can take Flash Heal, where your res can be used on whoever you're pocketing to restore 150 health. Doing so will incur a 15-second cooldown instead of the default 30 seconds. For Moira, her first minor perk is Vanish, where the Fade's duration is increased by 0.5 seconds, or you can opt for Uprush, where Fade's jump height is increased by 50%. For her major perks, we have Ethical Nourishment, where Biotic's Orb's first 50 healing is instant on each ally it encounters. Or you can take Contamination, where enemies being damaged by Biotic Orb receive 25% reduced healing. Finally, for Zen, we have the minor perk Zenith Kick, where the snap kick's knockback distance is increased by 30%. Or you can take Ascendance, where if you activate and hold double jump, you can hover for up to 3 seconds. For the major perks, we have Focus Destruction, where the secondary fire charges 20% faster and can store 1 extra orb of destruction, so you can do 6 orbs. The other perk is Duality, where Zenyatta heals whoever he has Harmony Orb on for 20% of his damage dealt to discorded targets. That's all for the perks. Leave some Mythbusters down here with some perk interactions you guys want me to test if you're curious. All right, take care. See you on stream.